generally, this is how it goes with how I teach procedures, okay? It's going to be, I know for a fact it's different than what you've done before. The way I like to do it is, one, I'll demonstrate it. Two, we'll walk through it together. Okay, so we do one step at a time together. And then we go through that teach it moment where we're going to switch partners, and then you're going to try to show your partner how you just did it, right? Obviously with our supervision, walking around fixing some things. But you're always going to see me perform it, and then have me walk you through it one step at a time. Okay? I just feel like that, yes. Yeah. So the question was, are the lab classes recorded? Let me double check. Yeah, we're good. On that note, there's been several times where I've turned this on and I forgot to press record or whatever, so if you guys are concerned about that in any way, just let me know. I'll definitely double check that for you. So that is generally the process that I take for demonstrating procedures. With that being said, I do want you guys to, how do I put this kindly? I want to make sure that anything that we tell you, you take that as us trying to make sure that you are becoming the best adjuster you can be. Okay? If I give you a criticism on something, it's not to demean you or belittle you. It's entirely to make sure that you become the best adjuster you can be. Okay? And I guarantee you, I can guarantee this because I've been doing this for a while. Okay? I'm a really good adjuster, okay? There's a reason I'm up here at my age and owning practices and doing that stuff for a reason, okay? Because I'm really good at what I do, okay? But I can only help you if you choose to help yourself. So if I try to give you some information, what I don't like to see is you deciding to be like, no, I'm doing it the right way, or like, no, that's like, no, I did it the right way. And I was like, I just saw you. And then you're like, no, I did it the right way. And that's, why are you picking back and forth with me? You know, like that's, I'm trying to help you out here, okay? That kind of stuff I don't ever approve of, especially in practical testing. I give this announcement during the midterm and the finals anyways, but anytime we give you feedback, if there's ever any sort of arguing during the test where someone tells, one of the doctors tells you, hey, you did this, you should have done this, and then you're like, no, I didn't. Any arguing back and forth guarantees you a 0 on your final, and I've done it several times, okay, on whatever test you're taking, okay? Because all we're trying to do is make sure that you're testing appropriately and making sure you get things right, okay? We'll talk about, do you guys want to know about how the midterm goes right now, or do you just want to wait for later? You want to know? So that was like, he's like, please, right now, please, no one else. So your midterm is actually, I think it's super easy. Midterm and final are super straightforward. Basically what's going to happen, for your midterm, you're going to be doing 3 adjustments for the cervical spine, okay? You're going to come over to one side, you palpate each other, your partner, and it's going to be randomized, just so you guys know, it's randomized partner. That is to encourage you guys to work with different bodies, because you're not going to have a bunch of people that look exactly like you. You're going to have a bunch of people that look like a whole bunch of different sizes. So that's to encourage that, that different aspect of your practice. But what is going to happen, you come over here, you find out who your partner is going to be, you palpate the restrictions, you write down the restriction and how you're going to correct it. That means you get to pick how you want to correct this procedure. The whole point of my midterm is I want to see, can you actually fix the issue, right? I don't want to give you something that you have no idea how to do, right? If you're like, I've tried this a million times and I can't do this particular adjustment, good for you. There's 3 other ways to do it. Choose the way that you know how to do. Okay? I want to see, can you actually fix something with the procedure you chose to do. So generally speaking, it should be good for you. If you're like, I'm really good using my thumbs for an adjustment, use your thumb. I don't want to see you come in the midterm and be like, I really suck at the index pull push, but I'm going to try it in front of you just so I can get some feedback. And I'm like, don't get your feedback right now, that's an F. Yeah. You're going to want to do that beforehand. Once you're in the midterm, choose what you're really good at. Okay? I want to see your best at that point. Make sense? All right. So that's pretty much it. You come in, you adjust, you get out, and it usually takes about 3 or 4 minutes. It's not very long because I'm not expecting you to stand there and look at me and be like, I'm going to go I2SL2 and PDA with this tissue so I can do all this stuff. I don't really care because I can see it. Okay? I'm looking at you and I'm like, that looks wrong. And if it looks right, then it's right. That's the whole point of positioning. So it's really straightforward. Come in, do your adjustments, get out, and you're going to be good after that. Yes? You don't have to stay in line of drive for my midterm or final. Now, if it looks wrong, I may ask you, what's your line of drive? Okay? But if it looks right, everything looks good, then there's no reason for me to stand there and listen to you describe what I can see. Okay? Yes. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So the general caveat is you're going to always request consent, right? So you want to ask your patient for consent. Is it okay if I begin the setup and adjust this procedure? And they say yes, that's totally fine. You go ahead and set up. And then once you're ready to adjust, you look at me. Is it okay if I proceed? And I'll be like, yeah, that's good. Go for it. And then you go send it or down. Whatever's going to happen at that point, but that's what we're grading it on, like just like the actual performance of it. But yes, you are getting consent from your instructor to go ahead and proceed, because last thing we want is for you to just hop on and just shoot, and then we're like, we were going to stop you, but we couldn't. Yeah. So yes, but you'll see. I have a whole list. The instructions should be posted anyways, so you guys can see what those instructions are. Don't worry about it too much right now, but that's the general way that my midterm and final work. Any other questions on that? Good? Alright, so with that caveat being said, let's go ahead and begin. I want you guys to go ahead and get a doctor-patient setup. We'll get one person on a chair and one person behind the patient.
Were you guys in his class last term? No. Oh, okay. Are you both red flag?
And before you ask, because I know you're going to ask.
You're not? Okay, I'm not either. So if you want to switch for those things.
It needs a back support.
I have some assignments to go
Yeah, you're going to push off.
Does that ever get better? Does that ever get better?
I mean, yes, with, I would say, like, cervical,
Okay.
isotonic, like...
Not the EDI, is it?
No, I don't think it's
Okay.
like 3 sessions.
Oh my god. What sport were you playing? Was it softball or soccer?
Soccer and, like, volleyball.
Oh, that's terrible. So he doesn't use an example, he just walks through everybody?
I think
Raise your hand if you need a chair.
No, you want to be my partner?
One chair per
Okay,
partner,
let's...
So, who needs a chair?
Maybe we can get that chair.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. Are there any chairs though? Oh, okay.
Now I need a volunteer. Who wants to come on up?
There's no chair? Okay, yeah, let's see.
Were you working on anybody?
You're Rosa, right? I'm Janice. I have you in a lot of classes. So, am I supposed to stand up? Okay.
Alright. So we're going to start. If you open up your manuals, you'll see that we have the cervical palpation procedures, occiput COC1. We're going to start with a few occiput procedures here that you haven't done before, because you guys learned them in the supine position. You haven't learned them seated.
I left my pad in there.
I'll
go get it later though.
So in the supine position, you guys learn to do flexion by kind of creating this position and kind of going into nutation, right? Over the top. That is a general flexion restriction. You can't isolate that to one side versus the other, because you have two condyles, right? COC1, you have the right occipital condyle on what? Your right lateral mass, right? So what are the components of the COC1 joint? I just stated it, right? Occipital condyle with the lateral mass, so C1, right? But there's two of them, right? You have the right one and you have the left one. So how do you determine a flexion restriction on the right one versus the left one? That is what we're going to be doing. So for this one, we're going to be standing behind our patient. Okay, and we're going to stand behind your patient. Again, your patient should be on a chair with a backrest here. I do not want to see anybody on the table working on something. Okay. Now that they're on the chair, behind your patient,
we're going to borrow from you guys when you guys are done.
Oh,
do they? Oh, okay.
Which,
Oh, but it has to have a backrest, huh?
yeah, it has to have a back.
Oh, yeah, because we can't.
Did not want to move? My bad.
It's recording.
Oh, that's fine.
I was like, what just happened? Alright. Okay. Go in front of your patient. Introduce yourself. Say hello.
Hello, I'm Janice. I'm a student doctor. I'm going to be palpating your neck. Is that okay? Yeah. And then right in your occiput? Okay, perfect. Thanks for the...
Are these two assassins? Is that what it is?
I'm not going to try to like do anything.
Okay, so step number 1 is always going to be to get your consent. Before you do anything, it could be a palpation, an adjustment, it could be a sneeze next to someone. We're going to get your consent first, okay? We're training that into you so you practice, or so you can get used to doing that, so you're doing it all the time. So we're starting with our consent. After that, we're going to go ahead and start with the next thing, which is patient position. Step number 2 is always patient position. In this seated position, your patient should be seated for starters, facing that way. Legs should be straight out, relaxed. Feet should be flat on the ground. Good. All right. Arms can be just resting on the legs. Doesn't have to be anything particular, just nothing funky. Okay. And obviously, like I told you before, no chewing gum, nothing in the mouth. Okay. Make sense? From that point, we're now going to be assessing. We're going to start off with the right COC1 joint to assess reflection. So you guys don't have to do this yet. You can just watch me, and then we'll do it together. So my left hand or support hand in this case is going to go over the top of the patient's head. And then my right hand, my index is going to be making a contact. I'll show you where. Now let's go ahead and zoom in towards this part right here. Good. So we have the mandible. Here's the angle of the mandible, and here you have what? What portion of the mandible is this? The ramus. Good. So you have the ramus of the mandible, and then posterior to the ramus of the mandible, you have what? Yeah, that's deep. Yeah, actually, so that's deeper there too. So you have a stylic process. You right behind the angle, right behind the ramus, you're going to have the TP of C1 coming out right there. Okay. So you have the mastoid process here, and in between that, right in here, you have the TP of C1 poking out that way. So what you're going to do is you're going to find that TP of C1 and go anterior to it. So it should be squeezing in between. So right here where my thumb is, that's kind of really, you guys can't really see much, huh? It's kind of focused in again. And zoom in again. There you go, it's a little bit better. It's like wanting to catch this foot for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's like great. You can feel
There
yours?
you go.
Oh.
Yeah, just one to that foot. Okay, so you have your index in that position. So right where my thumb is, here would be the TP of C1. So my index is going to go in front of that TP of C1, but behind the ramus. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is have the patient tuck their chin in, and then I'm going to be pushing I to S and P to A. And see how I'm going to create a nutation here? The idea here, just so you guys see that, the idea here is that if here's C1 and here's the ramus, while my finger's there, as I go into flexion, there should be pinching going on on the pad of my index. Okay? If there is a restriction, you're not really going to get a whole lot of movement on there. It won't feel like it's really pinching. Okay? On that same note, if I'm here and I push down S to I and P to A and cause like a little chin jet, I should feel a gapping. That would be for an extension restriction, right, of CO1, C1. So on the right side, I'm checking for a flexion by going into nutation, flexion restriction, and an extension restriction by going into counter nutation or going backwards. Does that make sense? All right. So before you guys try it, we're going to do it together, don't worry. Before you guys try it, if, let's say I was standing over here, and I placed my index right in that spot, and I went down like this, and it wasn't moving relative to the left side, how would I call this? There would be a flexion restriction of CO and C1 on the right side. Okay? So you're going to specify the side that you're contacting. That will make sense as you go through. So we assessed for flexion. There wasn't any movement on the right side, so we say there's a flexion restriction of CO and C1 on the right side. Make sense? All right, let's do this one together. Get with your partner right there.
Do I have permission to palpate?
Next thing we're going to
Okay,
do
thank
right
you.
now. Doctors.
I'm just going to put my hand on your head, and I'm just going to palpate behind the ramus. So right in
Good.
here.
Place that on top of your patient's head.
Does that hurt? Let me know if it's too
All
much
right.
pressure.
Right hand up. Show me your index. Other finger, sir. Good. You got your pads out. Good. Find the TP of C1. So just go in between the mastoid and the ramus here. You should find a little bumpy thing that's right in there. Go anterior to that TP of C1, and you're kind of going to dig in there. Don't stab someone right in that area. You know, just barely push into a little bit of pressure.
I think I feel it right here.
Anterior to that TP of C1, posterior to the ramus. Now, with your support hand, have the patient first tuck their chin in a little bit, and you're going to go I to S and P to A. And just kind of push down like that. So you're going to see a little bit of that.
How's that? Is that okay?
Chin tuck action going on. Make sense?
So we're feeling for like
You
the
should be
lateral
feeling
mass.
what? A pinching, right, for the flexion restriction. Okay? Now, while you're still there,
Oh,
keep your
interesting.
fingers.
Oh,
Keep
oops,
your
sorry.
finger in that place. And now we're going to push down S to I and P to A to create a little bit of a chin jut. And that's when you're assessing extension now, okay? So you should feel a gapping going on between your fingers. Make sense?
So we keep it there and just move the head.
Okay? Go ahead and try the other
I
side.
do. I feel like
Switch,
after.
And we'll
there.
walk around to watch you do this
Oh,
one
okay.
correctly, and then we'll go on to the next procedure, okay?
Did you want to switch or? We,
You do want to do this other side or one?
oh yeah, I'll do your other side. Yeah. Thanks. Let me see. Here's your ramus. I'm just gonna put my head right there, and then you feel your TP right in there. I'm gonna just have you tuck your chin a little bit. Oh, thanks. And then I'm just gonna push I to S, P to A.
P to A is this one or the one at the top?
Oh.
I think the top hand, like the support hand of it.
Oh, okay. You're right. I don't have my lab manual, so yeah, you're most likely right. Because when he was doing the head back, it was S to I, but then forward it's S,
Yeah.
I to S.
So. I think this is just for the support to see if it's.
Okay. Yeah, thank
I
you.
might be wrong.
Sorry. Yeah, because it's probably too heavy. Ah, that makes more sense too, what you're talking about. So I think this is your lateral mass TP right here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to put it right in front, and I'll have you tuck your chin a little bit. Thank you. And I should feel it pinching. And I do feel it pinching right in there. All right, great. And I'll go, and then I'm going to keep my finger here. I'll have you extend your head back, great. And then I'm just going to feel for it gapping. I feel it gapping. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Rosa. I'm gonna make doctor students. I'm going to palpate your neck. Is that okay if I touch
Yeah.
your neck area?
Yeah.
So you're going to start with this side. You're going to on your Okay, I'm going to place.
I feel more tender.
Do you feel it pinching?
Then I'm going to this
Well, because there's also.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh, you have nails. We'll talk about that. Yeah, so you can find one and go right in front of it.
But so it's right there, right? I can feel like there's an area, like there's a shears.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And she just pushes down?
And have her tuck her chin in, like that, and then we're kind of going like that.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thanks.
He just made me
Oh, yeah. I can't even feel, I didn't even know you had
cut them
them.
out, but I think I have to cut them more.
Oh, yeah. I trimmed mine, but sorry if there's sharp edges. I can't trim the sharp edges. edges that much because then I'll get like a hangnail.
All right, I want you to tuck your chin. All right. Oh, I can feel it pinching. Interesting. Okay, now I want you to have the neutral. Okay, perfect. Good.
Awesome. Good job. Thanks.
Yeah. What term are you, Janice?
Oh, I'm sorry, what? Oh, I'm fall 2021, 22. No, wait, it is 21. Fall 2021, term 6.
Oh,
yeah.
so are you going to clinic next term?
Oh, no, I don't think I'm going to be doing clinics for a year. I did pass the functional health science, but I still have to take the national boards August.
Oh,
Yeah.
So if you don't pass nationals, you can't go to clinic?
Oh, no, only if you don't do the functional health science. If you don't pass that way.
Oh, I know, that one I know.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because the national boards, I heard you don't actually have to pass those until you graduate. And then even after that, that's just if you want to work as a doctor. But everyone wants to work as a doctor because they got to pay off like that huge student debt.
I want to get your license so I can...
Yeah. Are you a term behind me?
I'm 10 5.
Oh, okay.
10 try.
Nice. 12 term?
No, 10 try.
Oh, dang. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I like the way you're teaching it.
Yeah.
Very good.
I like it too. Yeah, it's pretty. It's like right.
Move on to the next thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the easiest ones to feel because that one you actually feel like a pinch or not a pinch. Let's take a seat.
You guys can use these too if you want. I mean, I'm not trying to be like stingy or anything. I just don't want them to like disappear.
So, one other thing I kind of forgot to mention. Not that this is applying to anyone specifically, okay? I just remembered it. Let's talk about cleanliness and your hands in general, okay? One, ideally, please remember that you are in a really compacted room full of students and full of classmates. I really encourage you that everyone, please make sure you're properly clean, showered, use deodorant, whatever you got to do, because you're going to be in close quarters for a while, and it's kind of, it can become difficult.
I showered this morning.
When it smells really bad. But more specifically, I want to refer to your hands, okay? For whoever does this,
I just wipe them on
I
this.
highly recommend you don't get those acrylics. Okay, those really long ones that are going to be punching out like that for your nails. Okay, keep your fingernails trimmed and very, very short and properly manicured. Okay, nothing wrong with getting manicured. Just make sure you're not getting those acrylic add-ons because when you're trying to, like, for example, for those of you who have them, you try to do that right now. You're like, stabbing into the cerebellum at that point. Please avoid getting those. Just keep your hands clean. For the men as well, clean your hands. Get a little toolkit, dig out all the dirt that's in there. If you want to, go ahead and get a mani-pedi. I do. They feel great. I go all the time. They feel awesome. Go ahead and get them. Just keep your hands clean. These are your money makers, okay? Like, this is what people are going to see, and when you're going to come up to adjust them and you're looking like this, they're like, So, clean your hands, keep yourself sanitary, everything's going to be okay. Understood?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So let's move on to the next thing. We have number 3, rotation. So, can one of the instructors find me Frank's head? It's the skull. That's what his name's Frank. It should be in there. I'm going to demonstrate to you guys a few landmarks for this one. But basically, for rotation, we know that there's no true rotation in the occiput, right? There's primarily what motion in the occiput? Flexion and extension, right? The greatest movement within COC1 is flexion and extension. It has very little lateral glide and very, very little rotation. But it acts like a coupled motion most of the time. So if you want to induce rotation into COC1, you have to maximally rotate the head a lot of times to get that full rotation. Maximal rotation, the last 5 degrees of rotation comes from that occiput kind of fairly turning into that. Okay, so we'll talk about how that works in a little bit. Most of the time when we're assessing the occiput, we want to assess it according to the planes that are associated with the occipital condyles with the lateral masses. So have you guys looked at what a lateral mass looks like? I hope so. You guys have that in there. So here's my 3D printed model of cervical spine. So you guys know. A student did this for me. Can we zoom in on this? No, not the team. Actually, let's go to the top view. That'll do it. Let's zoom in a little bit, see if that helps. So here's the infamous C1. You guys can't really see that, can you? Alright, here we go. By the way, I have no filter. I'm sorry. Things will just come out and I have no. Anyway, so yeah, I won't be able to really show this to you guys. But here's the I'll walk around. Here's C1 with the lateral masses here, right? The lateral masses kind of look like a skate rink, okay, or a pool that's emptied out of water. Okay? It kind of curves down and in, has little walls that are in the different positions there. So when we're assessing for rotation, in order to get that movement of rotation, think about the lateral mass as kind of holding a cup like this and then curving in and collapsing inward like this. To induce rotation, we have to first rotate the patient's head about 15 degrees, and then we're going to push down and in to create that little divot. You guys learned that in the supine position, right? So you had to do that little 15 degrees of rotation and then do the little ski dance, right? So in the seated position, it's pretty much the same thing, except it takes a little bit more balance control to do that. So let me get another person. Let's get someone from West Side. Who wants to come on up from West Side? Peter, because that's the only name I know now. So. No Peter and no David. There you go. Go and take a seat right here. Last term it was really easy because about half of the class was named Jonathan. So Jonathan, come on up. Hey. How you doing, Peter?
Great. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Is it okay if I sit up and palpate on your cervical spine?
Sure.
Cool. So, by the way, Peter's kind of tall. And let's say I was yay tall. I was like, how am I going to do that? A couple of things you can do. Slide down on the chair, have the patient slide down. Keep going until there you go. Perfect. So he can drop down a little bit deeper, and then you can stand up a little bit taller. You're right there. If there's even greater discrepancy, we actually had someone a few terms ago. The guy was like 6'8", and then the girl that he was paired up with happened to be like 5'2" or whatever, or 4'1", and he was even with the whole dipping and everything like that, it was still couldn't reach. So we had them get that little bolster that's over here, a little stand, just prop it up and get in there, or just do it supine. Okay, but this is just another option to do it in the seated position. So from here, doctor position. So we have patient position, same as before, seated. You can be relaxed a little bit down, arms right there, feet flat on the ground, anything in your mouth. Okay, cool. I'm not going to do a cavity search, we're good. So, left leg, if I'm working on the right side, my left leg is going to go forward, okay, behind the patient's spine. Okay? You're going to be used to this position because this is also going to be adjusting the cervical spine when you're in the seated position. Okay? So, find the patient's spine. Step off a little bit that way. Left leg goes forward, right leg goes back. How many of you have done like boxing or fighting recreationally or just to be in trouble? Generally speaking, when you learn about how to punch, right? I've never had, but I know I've seen this at least. Generally speaking, your back leg is where your power comes from. Okay? And so that's where you're generating that power. So when you're doing an adjustment, your back leg has to be the push-off portion. So for that, you're in an athletic stance, or what sometimes you refer to as a fencer stance. Left leg goes forward, right leg goes back. In this case, now we're going to show you guys the Chiro gang sign, which is these three fingers, like that, flipped over like that, and you're going to be in this position, because this is your Chiro gang sign. Thumb is going to go on the patient's cheek. Index goes in front of the SCM. The middle finger goes behind the SCM, and the rest of these fingers go behind the patient's head. So these two kind of cupping the head right there. That's how you're going to learn to get some stabilization of the patient's head. So from here, what I would recommend for you guys to do initially, right hand goes up. I'm going to place my chiro index, or my chiro hand, chiro gang sign, sorry. Chiro gang sign here. Let the patient's head fall into my left hand. Now I can get my right hand, which is my contact hand, and we can do two contacts. You can either do the thenar contact or a supramastoid index contact. Thenar contact is in this position here. I'll show you guys more specifically how to do that one. Most people prefer to do the index contact. They feel much more secure. So for that, tip of my index finds the supramastoid notch. I'm going to slide down until my MCP, right here, everybody show me your index. With your thumb, touch your MCP, the ventral lateral elastic. That's the part that you're going to be contacting the supramastoid notch with. So I'm here, slide that thing down until the index is on the supramastoid notch. Thumb goes on the temple. The rest of my fingers go behind the patient's head. Now I can bring them back to neutral. Okay? I'm still in my fencer kind of athletic stance position. From here, I'm going to be pushing the patient's head into that position, right? That little 15 degrees of rotation, turn that way, and then push SI, L2M, P-Day. So I'm here, SI, L2M, and P-Day. And I'm assessing end feel at end range. Take him to end range. So again, S to I, push L2M, P to A, and then assess that motion there. Do a little dance, step to the other side, and then we're going to come down here, SI, L2M, P A, and assess that motion. Okay? So that's how we're going to assess rotation. So we have to induce that motion that's kind of gliding into a rotary position. Make sense? Más o menos? Okay, cool. All right, let's do this one together. Yes?
So with the support hand, is that moving at all, or is that just...
That's a great question. So, listen up. Halt, east side. All right. So, your support hand is not going to be doing anything but holding the patient's head. It's not moving when you're pushing, it's just staying there, it's just holding and supporting. In almost every single adjustment you're going to do in this class, your support hand does absolutely nothing but support. There's one or two adjustments where one of them is called the party hands move, where we're going to use both hands to do an adjustment. But besides that, your support hand should always be as stable as possible, because you're just trying to, at that point, control the patient's head and not let it fall off while you're doing something. Okay? So, let's go ahead and dock your patient's head. We'll do this one together.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys ready? Ready? Thumbs up if you're ready. Good. All right. Doctors, what's the step number one? Get your consent. Good. You're the consent side. Start with that. By the way, just so you know, this is not getting consent. Is it okay if I...
You know.
That's not consent, okay? You need to be very specific about what you're going to be doing, because anything else is not consent, right? And that applies again in practice. If you tell them, like, hey, is it okay if I do some muscle work and maybe a little popping thing over there? They're going to be like, popping? Sure, I'll get a Pop-Tart. Again, it's really, I'm joking around a little bit, but it's for safety. If you don't get proper consent, a patient can sue you, and you don't want to do that. It's super expensive. I've never been through it, thankfully, because I'm being very good. With that being said, a little, I don't know what I'm talking about right now, but when you graduate, you're all going to get malpractice insurance, okay? It's not a matter of like, I'm going to mess up, so I should have a lawyer. It's a matter of you have no idea what's ever going to happen, and something can happen outside of your control, and you want to be safe. With that being said, I always recommend you go with NCMIC. NCMIC is one of the biggest organizations in malpractice. They've supported chiropractic for the longest. They're not the cheapest, but they are the most experienced. And they also continuously support research for us so that they have more evidence to back you up whenever something goes wrong, if something ever goes wrong. Okay? So the way I put it this way is if you graduate and you're like, well, that costs this much, but this company costs like $100 less a month to pay for it, and I want to go with the cheaper one. Say, God forbid anything happened, you go to court and you're waiting for your lawyer, and then your lawyer walks in, he's got scuffed up shoes and cuffed pants, and he's sweating, and he's like, oh, is this the right place? You know, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to jail. You know? Versus, has anybody ever seen Suits, the show? Yeah. If Harvey Specter walks in, he's got the nicest $10,000, $15,000 suit, shoes that you can see yourself in, hair perfectly parted, and he just looks at the judge and he's like, you're done. And then, we'll see. Go with the ones that you're like, I'm going to be, if anything ever happened, that's what I'm going with. Okay? Make sense? All right. Oh yeah, also, just something that I just learned, I didn't know that. NCMIC covers the majority of the techniques that are out there. So, because not all techniques, like diversified obviously is, that there's some techniques out there that you're like, I don't know if they would cover that. It's kind of an obscure technique. NCMIC covers the majority of them. You can check with them which ones you do. Okay, anyways, moving on. Let's do this one together. So you guys already saw me do it. We're going to start with where I got a consent. Step number 2 is what? Patient position. Okay, so go ahead and make sure your patient is in the right position. They should be seated, feet flat on the ground. Good.
Should I scoot down?
All right. Nothing in your mouth. Good. All right. What's step number 3?
Doctor position.
Doctor position, good. So for your doctor position, if I am assessing the right COC1 joint, which leg goes forward?
Right foot.
Left one, good. Left leg goes forward behind the patient's spine. Right leg goes back. And I'm standing towards the right side here. Good? All right, next step, we're going to get our right hand up. Place that on top of the patient's head. Now left hand, this might be the first time you guys use your chiro gang sign, so here we go. Hand up, left hand palm up, flip that thing down, okay? Thumb goes on the patient's cheek. I'll show you guys on this side so you guys can see on the camera. Thumb goes on the patient's cheek. Index goes in front of the SEM, okay? Middle finger you can put behind the SEM or curve it behind the neck. 4th and 5th digits go behind the patient's occiput or behind the neck. So the patient's head should look like this. How many find this difficult? It's okay if you say yes because you're just starting to learn this. But don't worry about it too much. Alright. So, we have our chiro gang sign on, our support hand on. Now, let the patient's head fall onto that left hand. Just rest it there. One thing I'll note where my, here I'll do this side. Note where my thumb is. Thumb is on the cheek. Thumb is not over the zygomatic arch, and thumb is definitely not curving into the patient's eye. Okay? That makes a really, really good, strong support to get inside of the orbit, but you'll also have a lot of blood, so you want to avoid that. Okay? So make sure your thumb is pointing down, following the line of the jaw.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Contreras.
Make sense?
That's what we need.
All right, so support hands on. Patient's head is resting onto your left hand. Right hand up. We're going to do the index, the MCP contact. Okay, so show me that MCP with your thumb pointed. Wiggle it. Good. All right, flip that hand upside down. Good. Flip it upside down, so palm up. Let's do the palm up here. There you go. So now, index, find the supramastoid notch. Slide that MCP onto that supramastoid notch. Let your thumb contact the temple here, and the rest of your fingers go behind the patient's occiput. Good? Now bring the patient's head to neutral. So you should kind of look like a crab right now. Okay? From here, you can pivot the patient's head 15 degrees to the left a little bit. Make a slight move. And then, ready? Your right hand only. Right hand, this hand that's over here, you're going to push down first S to I, L to M, and then P to A. And then you're going to do that in one motion. See how his chin juts a little bit that way? Chin jutting, you're doing the right thing. Chin jutting, you're doing it right. Take it to end range. And at end range, that's where you assess the end field. This is assessing end field, not this. Yeah, got moving. No, take it to end range and assess and feel at end range. Feel that nice bouncy spring on that point.
Which hand has to do the motion?
This one.
So is it correct position?
It's
So
with
it's
the
a
MCP
mastoid.
contact, yes. You should feel that with your MCP. Alright. Huh? Yeah, I'm going to show you guys thenar next. Alright.
Oh, S to I, L to I, right?
Yeah, that's the I elder on PD.
And then 15 degrees to this side, right?
Alright. How many of you,
I don't know why it
listen up.
doesn't.
How many of you found that a little difficult to do? Okay. How many of you, it was difficult because someone had a lot of hair? Or you were really sweating already? Yes, that can happen. With the hair, I'll show you guys a trick. So first, let's try a different contact. So now, if you don't like that MCP contact, we can try the thenar contact, okay? So, we're going to assess the left side. Right leg forward, left leg back. Good. Left hand up. This on top of the patient's head. And then, you're a little confused. Yeah. Alright. Right hand up. Is it one of those where you have to be like? Alright. Right hand up. Support hands are cower gang sign. Flip that thing upside down. Thumb on the patient's cheek. Index goes in front of the SEM. That's sternocleidomastoid. The rest of your fingers go behind the patient's head. The palm of your hand, by the way, should be over the ear. Just don't push in because you're going to push air into the patient's ear and that's going to hurt. All right. Now that you're there, let the patient's head fall into your support hand. It should be nice and relaxed at this point. Good. All right. Now, thenar contact, right hand up. Thenar is this fat one right here by your thumb. Okay. Thumb, flip that upside down. Thumb finds the supramastoid notch. Slide that until your thenar lands onto that supramastoid notch there. And then the rest of your fingers curve behind the patient's head. You there? From here, you're going to do the same thing. Rotate about 15 degrees. And then S to I, L to M, P to A. So see how the direction that is restricted into? Restriction of CO and T1 on the right side. Okay? Alright, go ahead and switch and practice this one.
Okay. Oh, I know, yeah. Let me see. Do I have permission to go there? Okay. Thank you. I'll just wipe my hands off on this here because it's chloride. Here. Alright. Okay, Rosa, I'm just going to move your hair a little bit right there. Since I am going to be working the left.
A good point was brought up, and I want to note that for everyone. So, there is one position, well there's two positions, but one position that is the most dangerous for the cervical spine. Is everyone listening? What is the position most dangerous for the cervical spine? Extension. So while you're working on your patient, I don't want to see their heads fall back and you're like, yeah, that looks good. Okay? Keep the patient's head neutral, if not just slight flexion, but neutral when you're assessing this. That way you keep everything safe. What's the second most dangerous position for the neck? Rotation. Maximal rotation, or just rotation to the side that you're assessing. So that's why we try to limit the amount of rotation and extension that we do by keeping the patient's head neutral. And eventually, as you guys will learn, we induce lateral glide and lateral flexion first before we induce rotation. So we limit rotation. Does that make sense? Alright, so right now, just practice. By the way, if you're wondering how to keep the head stable some more, so your left hand is doing that, your right hand's holding, but my abdomen here was kind of up forward this way, so the head never goes into extension. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Good. Continue practicing.
Alright, so I'm actually going to rest your head on this. I'm going to palpate your left rotation. Okay, alright, thank you. So I'm just going to do the chiro gang sign, which is this in front of the sternocleido. Cheek rest here. So that's your sternum? Okay, good, thanks. And I'm just going to have you rest your head. Just like there. Is that comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then for this one, I am going to actually...
Find a mastoid, and then he said Dr. Miller should just have this contact, like this part of the hand of the mastoid, and kind of cup around the occiput.
Oh, the mastoid process right here.
Right.
And I'll just have you rest your head. Good, good. And I got my oh, it has to be on my PCP right here. Oh. And then these have to be right there. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that is very weird. Okay. So I'm just going to rest you right here, and I'm just going to, like, move you 15 degrees this way, and then just slide. Like that. Do you feel it? Like the little slide?
Which one has, I don't know which.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of whatever feels comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. Oh yeah, just a little bit. I need some like little details here. No wait. Oh, thank you. Okay. So here's the power.
So you're taking right one?
And then oh yeah, so I can feel it right here. Oh, so I'm supposed to do that to this side, huh? No, this is just this is the contact I wasn't really clear on, but you just explained it. So I'm gonna go like this. This is my contact, but it has to be on the mastoid process. And then where's my thumb? Just wherever.
I think your thumb is attached to your hand. I think.
Oh, like a scooping?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's scooping, and then SI is right.
All right. Well, here's your mastoid process right there. And then I'm gonna put my fingers here. Oh, this is it. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more firm just so I can kind of feel like that turn. How's that? Is that okay? Okay, cool. Great. And then, let me... Yeah, can I try the other side? Thank you. So, and I have to be careful with the leg too, because...
So, if you're taking the left side, the right side, I think that's forward, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the right, I'm going to check your left side, so then it would be, because I have to push with more power on the left, I'll have my left foot, the back one, back. And so my right one will be forward, and I'm just going to put my chiro index here, get that sternocleidomastoid on my occiput right there. I got the thumb right here, the other fingers right here, and I'm just going to have you rest your hand right here, just like rest your head slightly, and then I'm going to take this MCP on the mastoid process right in there, and wrap my fingers like so, and then I'm going to tilt it 15. Oh, I think it prevents us from doing it too hard, that's why, because it's such an uncomfortable. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What is your brushes on your foot?
No.
Alright, so I can do the right side, my left leg has to be forward, right?
I think I saw you.
Oh, okay.
Put your foot on the line.
Oh, okay.
Great light.
time, you gain time.
It's more comfortable, like I feel like I have less when it comes to like an actual
So I go from the arm right now where I am.
Better, make sure you take it, range, and feel the image.
What do you say? Okay, can I show you the other? The left side has to be folded 600.
Yeah, I felt a little movement.
I remember for CP1.
Yeah.
The rotation for me was challenging because of this motion.
Yeah.
So what is that overlap? So the class ends at 4, and then there's overlap right after?
Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because we have to do 10 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate. Oh, it looks like we're going into, never mind. We're going to go into something real quick. Okay, I'll do it until he says that. Okay, so I'm going to be resting. Okay.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you still need help with this one some more. Good? Alright, so we'll walk around and help you out for another 5-10 minutes, and then we'll do one more procedure. I think we'll call it a day after that, okay? So keep practicing, keep working on it. If you think you got it, you're done.
Okay. Alright. So, I know for sure I am going to... So, I believe what... I'm going to be rotating you left. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my thumb on your cheek and my fingers on your sternocleidomastoid like this so that I can cradle your head. I'm going to just rest it there. How is that comfortable?
Yeah, what side you're doing? Right side or left side?
Oh, I'm gonna do the right side, but I'm gonna rotate it left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
Right side,
yeah.
You're doing the right side, but you have to...
Oh, yeah. You're right.
No, the reason I'm asking this on the test is just confusing, so...
Oh, no, yeah. You're absolutely...
So when you're taking the right side, you're actually rotating from the left side, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold here, and we're rotating to the left, towards the left, because I'm gonna be putting my pressure on the right.
Right.
And so my right leg will be back, and my left forward. And I'm just gonna rest your head right here, just so that it can be relaxed. Gotta make sure I'm cradling your skull, and then I'm just going to move your head just so I can get that lateral mass to move and then feel it move. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It doesn't have a lot of rotation because it doesn't have too much movement.
You're right.
It's pretty subtle, but it's for you. I think you were doing it correctly. Do you want to do the other side?
Oh yeah, thank you. Cool, thanks. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna be moving your I'm gonna be putting force to your left to rotate you right on the occiput. Thumb right here. I got my chiro index right here. I'm cradling your head. Just gonna cradle under there. Go ahead and rest your head. Perfect. And then I'm just going to get my thumb right here. I got your MCP. I got it pretty good. I got you rested. And then the right foot forward. I'm just gonna rotate. And range, and forward. And range. Yes, very subtle.
Okay.
Yeah, that is good. Thank you, Riza. Yeah, so true. How did you like CP4? Did you do that last term? Oh, we're coming over here.
Sorry, I don't want
Oh, no, not at all.
If you feel like bringing it up right now.
No, I'm good. Yes. Huh?
So, I'll be focusing on right hand, left side. So, I'm like the picture.
So I'm gonna like let me get back to it. But she threw me off. I had my foot the other way and now. So left foot and right foot forward. This is the game plan. This is the game plan. Right foot. So the same hand, the same foot that's forward is the same side that you're pressing is the side that's when you get into like this
That's how it's weird.
I know.
Because when I read this sometimes, it was a blood on it.
Yeah,
So don't say the same. You're here.
No, you're right.
And you can help.
No, yeah, I kind of figured. Okay, so, because like, okay, think about it, your back leg is going to be your driving force for most of your moves. You want to have like low attitude, right? So, side hip, contact side hip is the only side hip that's your back, right? Because that's your first. So, this is important. This is the board when I'm going this way. And then when you're on the mat, kind of like push. Like in the picture, like you're holding like a ball, right? And then underneath that ball on the vertex, you're like rotating. So look at your hand. You're kind of doing the pharaoh in there. Hand doesn't bend that way. It's kind of hard. You're gonna have to like get used to it. Or what could help is try first with your arm rotator to it. Yeah, there. I'm squishing your head.
Maybe try scooping a little higher. Like right here. So there you go. That's good. Yeah. See how you can go like.
So find that in range.
Oh yeah. I have to transfer my plate. Hello? That's what it says. Yeah, I think you're just tucking too low. Oh no, I can't.
Then my right side has to be forward.
This leg should be forward, right here. Because your thumb needs to be on the this one right
So you want to use the supramastoid now. Did you already do that? You did that one. Yeah, that's where you want to be. Not really easy. It's there. And that's like, take the two slide, kind of slide. There. Shut the sorry. There you go. Too fast?
Yeah.
There you go. Try to get it easy.
I'm getting whiplash.
Give me your position.
That's not funnier.
And then you're going to come to your side this way. Like quite a foot. That's high. That's kind of the feeling.
Can you do it on me, please?
No, you're pushing down. Remember, S side is down. I'm taking your picture last time.
Yeah, I took it last time.
And it's really hard to have like a light touch of get out and then contact you.
Yeah.
That's the eye. If I put it down,
Whatever.
that's the eye. That makes sense. It's sliding like all it is this way. That's the eye. Yeah, the hand slips on the hair for sure. That's normal. That's why little birds of thenar contact, because it has more surface area. Yeah, so you're going to bring your thumb in to your hand there, kind of make the shell, and then this part of your thenar is going to come here. You don't have to push in so hard.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, you're going to try So yeah, right rotation of the left. What? Yeah, just gotta watch that thumb. If you're gonna do CP, thumb's gonna come toward the temple.
Right.
And you want as much of that hand kind of supporting Henry's hand. And remember, your contact hand, as soon as you do your contact hand, you're gonna shift the patient's head to the contact hand, right? So your left foot's gonna come out just a little bit. It doesn't feel a lot. There you go. Good. So you're gonna take that contact.
Like this or anything.
I think my hand is
It takes a little bit because it's kind of a new contact. So it takes a little bit to kind of build it down.
Oh, good to know. That's what it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had that same issue too. So it's better to use this, huh? Because I was trying to go like...
But it's so hard to positioning it. I don't know, maybe because of the height of the chair.
Oh.
I don't know. It was just hard.
Yeah.
My hand is not comfortable slipping at any second.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Did you want to practice some more?
Yeah, we can, yeah, do you want to practice?
Okay.
Or we can...
Wait until the next one?
Yeah, if I were you.
Can I try the thumb move on you? Can I try the thenar? Sorry. Thank you. I'm going to do this one. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate you left. And then I'm just going to get my contact. Alright. And I'm just going to rest your head in my hand. And I'm going to use the thenar.
See, I feel like it's a slippery.
Oh, yeah. So it is kind of cupping like that.
Is it?
Yeah, I feel like that's how you do it. If you cup like that, right on the mastoid process, and then whenever it's rested, you're going S-I-P to A. Okay, cool.
How did you do it?
I kind of like crunched all my fingers together.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Yeah, instead of like
I
that.
think he said not to do it, no?
Oh no. Oh, it looked like that's what he was. And well, I was like this. Oh, I think for you because you have nails.
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, really?
He said you have both options. Doesn't matter. You can either use your index
Okay.
or your thenar.
Oh, because when he was.
Alright, here we go.
Okay.
So one, I want to double check to make sure that it is a Celsius or not. I think it's
stop it right
intentional.
after.
It's like you're either going to have a lot of energy or you're not. Okay, here we go.
I think so.
So, a couple of things I wanted to point out.
Jeez, there we go.
If you've noticed when you're setting up for this, you can't do it unless if your elbows are down here. You're trying to do one of these, you're like trying to set up on someone. Okay? Arms need to be out and available, right? Elbows need to be high. Otherwise, you can't fully supinate your hands. If you notice that, like you're here, you're like, I can't hold this head, my fingers don't really fit that way. You need to bring the elbows up, shoulders forward a little bit to kind of hold that position to get into a proper hand position. The other thing is, some of you are, most of you, I should say, it's part of the learning process, but you're all very stiff. Right? You're like, I'm gonna go into And if you feel that, if like you as a patient feel like someone's squeezing your brain out, then you just gotta kind of like slap their hand and then okay? Think about this concept of hands like
I wasn't
pillows.
doing that to you, was it?
Okay? Your hands
Oh,
should be,
sorry.
Your hands should be very, very relaxed, very soft. And then when we're telling you to supinate, because the patient's head should rest onto your hands, right? Here's a Frank here. When I have my contact set in here, the patient's head should naturally just rest into my hand right here. Does that make sense? It should be nice and comfortable. If I'm doing this and everything looks very stiff, you're not going to be able to adjust in that position. You're starting to shake because you're pushing too hard. Okay? So just let it relax right here, nice and controlled, and then you'll feel that when you're doing it right, the motion is natural. That's what the occiput wants to do because that's the natural motion for the occiput. Okay? And the other thing is like if you have a tendency to not try to drop your wrist that way because you can't really hold them, then you're going to what I usually say is like pretend you're holding a puppy in your hands, right? This cute little puppy, a little kitten, and you don't want it to fall off like you're just dropping your hand down, right? You need to be able to hold your hand in that upward position here so that when you're adjusting, when you're moving, everything's staying stable in one plane, okay? So pretend wherever you are, pretend wherever you like, is a puppy, a kitten, a baby, or just don't drop it, okay? Because bad things can happen. Keep your hands nice and relaxed. Think hands like pillows. You'll see me do that a lot where I'll kind of come around and I'll just be like tapping your hand a little bit and be like relax, relax, relax over and over again. Because the tendency is, and I see this a lot when anytime I help in the clinic or I see people who are starting to learn, they're, in order to be fast, you have to be able to be relaxed, right? When you're not relaxed and you're super tense, you're the exact opposite of the speed that you need, right? The faster you are, the better you're going to be at an adjustment. And most of the time I see people trying to sit up and then they're doing one of these, and they're shaking like this, and they're trying to position, and I'm like, shoot, and they're like, and it's like, that was funny, right? Because you're too tense already. Okay, so try to relax, let it come to you.